Welcome back. It's good to see everybody. I hope you all had a great summer. We look excited to be back in the building. Looking forward to all of our students showing up in the next couple days. We wanted to take some time this morning during our in-service and talk about some important ideas. Here's one of them right now. We are Hawks. We are proud, and we are family. And here at the Hawk Nest, we will not tolerate bullying of any kind. So part of today's in-service training will address a growing concern, and that it would be cyberbullying. Now, when we talk about cyberbullying, what are we talking about? Well, bullying in any form is wrong. It's demeaning, it's demoralizing, and it is destructive to both the educational environment and the health and well-being of young people. Cyberbullying, in particular, is damaging, at least in part because students feel that there's no escape from it. Victims of cyberbullying often feel that it follows them everywhere they go. And unfortunately, it's becoming more common, something we're going to need to address and work on. Now, take a look at this video here and see what does cyberbullying look like. We are all familiar with some of the more traditional forms of bullying that have been around for generations. What does cyberbullying look like? Take a look here.
Top 10 forms of cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is a worldwide problem that's growing fast. In this video, we'll take you through the top 10 forms of cyberbullying so you have the knowledge to protect your children. 1. Exclusion. Exclusion can happen in several ways. Your child might be deliberately excluded from online activities, conversations, or social media tags. Children who don't have the latest technology, such as a mobile phone, are prone to exclusion. 2. Harassment. Harassment is sustained and intentional bullying, comprised of abusive or threatening messages sent to your child or to a group. This can severely affect a child's mental well-being. 3. Outing. Outing is the act of publicly humiliating a child or group through the online posting of private or embarrassing information without consent. Even reading your child's messages on their mobile phone out loud can be considered a form of outing. 4. Cyberstalking. Cyberstalking is a dangerous form of cyberbullying in which attackers harass victims through online communications like email or social media. It also refers to adults using the internet to contact and meet young people for abusive purposes. 5. Fraping. Fraping is when someone logs into your child's social media account and impersonates them, posting inappropriate content in their name. Remember, everything rude or otherwise posted online may never be fully gone, even if deleted. 6. Fake profiles. Fake profiles can be created by someone to hide their real identity with the intention of cyberbullying your child. The cyberbully may also use someone else's email or mobile phone to harass them. 7. Dissing. Dissing is sending or posting cruel information about your child online to damage their reputation or friendships. It also includes posting damaging photos, screenshots, or videos online. 8. Trickery. Trickery involves gaining your child's trust so that secrets can be shared publicly online. A cyberbully will befriend your child, leading them into a false sense of security before sending their private information to others. 9. Trolling. Trolling means deliberately provoking a response through the use of insults on online forums and social media sites. A troll will personally attack your child, aiming to make them angry and provoke a response. 10. Catfishing. Catfishing involves stealing online identities and recreating social networking profiles for deceptive purposes. Catfishers look at your child's profile and take information to create a fake persona. This could involve using personal information, potentially damaging your child's online reputation. Please share this video with other parents to help spread awareness and put a stop to cyberbullying.
And that, of course, is our goal, to see what we can do every day to prevent cyberbullying of our students.
Top 10 forms take you through.
Now, how common is this? Who's affected by it? Turns out that 43% of teens report having experienced some form of cyber harassment, and unfortunately, that number does appear to be to be trending upwards. There are some general trends. Turns out, for example, that female victims tend to be significantly more prevalent than male victims, but everyone is subject to these sorts of harassing events online, and it occurs in lots of different places. Many students report having been bullied on Instagram, for example, or Facebook, or Snapchat, various apps, WhatsApp, YouTube, and Twitter, of course. But it also happens through direct emails or text messages. Now, what's the harm? Certainly we know that bullying is wrong, but cyberbullying in particular is particularly damaging. According to sources here, we can see that significant cyberbullying often leads to depression and lowered self-esteem. That also, in turn, leads to avoidance sorts of behaviors, meaning that students will try to avoid being around peers who they know have seen embarrassing things, or that are perhaps actively bullying themselves. So our students will want to avoid that very difficult encounter in real life, and simply not show up. That means that they're going to be skipping school. That means that they're going to be missing out on those sorts of educational experiences as a result of not being in school, and by combining both the avoidance behaviors as well as the depression and low self-esteem, we're going to see that effect show up as lowered grades. Students may exhibit poorer health, or more likely to have sick days and so forth. Now, that's not always going to be pretend just to avoid going to school, but may actually manifest as a greater tendency to have illness. They will often, not always of course, but they'll often lash out on their own. People who are the victims of cyberbullying may in turn around and lash out at others, perhaps even cyberbullying others as a response. And of course, sadly, in many cases, all too many cases, students who feel like they have no other recourse, no other alternative, will sometimes turn to suicide. Obviously a great tragedy. So what do we do about it? Well, we have a responsibility, and it is our job to teach our students. Now, exactly how you teach them is up to you, but these are some of the things that we do have a duty and an opportunity to share with our students. So first thing we need to do, of course, is debunk misperceptions about digital behavior. We need to make sure that students understand that the things that they say online, destructive, damaging things, that it's not a joke, it's not a prank, it's not acceptable behavior. and it's not just words, it's not just fun and games, but that there's real damage that's done. We need to help them understand that. We also need to help them understand that that things that are put out on the internet today, even after they're deleted, they may still have remnants or echoes that will last for years, and that may come back to affect them at later times. So students need to be taught to understand the ramifications of their online behaviors. We also need to make it an active, deliberate effort to build empathy and understanding, to train our youth, to train our kids to be decent, compassionate human beings. Right? That may not be built into the curriculum in the science department or in the math program or even in the music or fine arts or history programs, but it's absolutely one of our mandates here. As mentioned before, we are hawks, and we are family. We also need to make an effort to teach our kids basic online safety skills. Teach them to be careful about sharing passwords. Teach them to be careful about sharing private information with people that they don't know. Teach them to take appropriate steps to safeguard themselves from what could be the dangers of the world around them. And the fourth and final note here is that we need to give our students strategies to reject digital abuse in their lives. All right, so that's some pretty basic stuff, right? Now, in that last slide, I said that we need to teach our kids strategies to reject digital abuse. But what does that mean? Now, you're all talented and dedicated teachers. I am not going to stand here and tell you how to teach. But I will tell you what we need to teach our kids. We need to give them the strategies that they can use. How you go about teaching them that, I will leave that in your very capable hands. But we need to make a deliberate effort to begin teaching our kids these 10 basic steps, to some strategies to deal with cyberbullying when they encounter it, either as a victim themselves or as a bystander observing it happen. The first thing that we need to make sure they understand is that they need to report it to school personnel. Even if it doesn't happen on school property or on school computers or with the school network, school personnel can still take appropriate measures, and court cases have decided in the favor that school disciplinary action can be meted out in certain circumstances when cyberbullying affects the learning environment in the school, which it most assuredly would be doing. We need to teach our students, we need to teach our kids to collect evidence. When it happens, it may be a natural tendency to just want to shut it off or run away and avoid seeing ugly or unpleasant things. But one thing that we need to teach them to do is to collect that evidence, to print out the emails, to take screenshots and save them in a file somewhere, so that when an investigation takes place, that there's documentation of who said what. So that's a useful tool that they're going to need to learn how to do, and that's useful even for bystanders, people that are not victims themselves but have seen it happen. That leads directly then to the next thing, which is to not just report it to school personnel, but to report it to site admin, whichever website or game or app they were using. If they're any of the larger ones, at least any of the more common ones, more reputable sources, apps and sites will have prohibitions against cyberbullying, and we'll have provisions made so that such activity can be reported. We need to teach our kids to report that, to turn them in, to snitch. Now, that's going to be a kind of an uphill battle in many cases. We have in our school a strong culture that snitches get stitches. We need to make a forceful and impassioned effort to teach them that these sorts of things cannot be tolerated and need to be reported so that they can be stopped. We need to teach our kids to build relationships with some trusted adults. Now, many of our students are not going to have someone that they feel comfortable opening up with at home. Perhaps students are living in a foster care situation, or living with grandparents that don't understand the technologies that are going on, or perhaps they just don't even feel comfortable with their own families. There's strife or other challenges there. We need to do whatever we can to build and foster healthy relationships with our students, with our kids, so that they can come to us. They can come to the nice lady that works in the media center. They can come talk to their counselor. They can come talk to their science teacher. They can share something with one of the parapros or one of the assistants that help them. We need to make them understand and help them to understand that there are people here that care about them, and that they should talk to trusted adults to find out what else can be done. We need to teach them to demonstrate care for one another. One of the things that will empower our students in dealing with their own challenges is to teach them to care for and take care of others that stand in need. It will help them to feel more capable, greater self-esteem themselves, if they can reach out to someone that is having a hard time, somebody that they've witnessed being bullied or harassed. If they can step up and say and offer positive feedback when others are criticizing or insulting, if we can teach our students to step in and say, you are a good person. Don't listen to them. Those people don't know what they're talking about. If we can get our students to step in and encourage the downtrodden, encourage those that are being harassed, that will go a long way. Now, that's not enough, of course, but often we can teach them to work together. Many times they'll be afraid to say something by themselves, but there's safety in numbers. And if one student, one of our kids who sees something, who sees somebody else being harassed, they may be afraid to step in and confront it on their own. But if they get together with their friends, if they work together with others that they know, now they can present a united front and have several people, one after another, jumping in saying, hey, knock it off. That kind of behavior is inappropriate. You can't do that. It's not true. These people that you're harassing, this student that you're harassing, what you're saying about them isn't true, or whatever. Telling them to stop. Again, by yourself, as a young person, maybe that's intimidating. But working together with your friends or others, that'll go a long way. Standing up, being a hawk, saying no. We need to teach them not to I'll use the term feed the beast here. We need to teach them not to respond to these sorts of harassments in ways that will keep it going. Don't repeat the gossip. Don't add emojis, even ones that that are intended perhaps to be discouraging of the cyberbullying. Be careful that you're not inadvertently extending the process. Don't feed this nastiness, so to speak. And we need to teach them how to stay safe. We've mentioned already. We've mentioned issues of internet safety and security, not sharing passwords, not sharing accounts with other people, keeping some care and concern about not putting private information out there that you don't want made available, not taking pictures of yourself that you don't want others to see, and so on. And of course, we need to teach them not to give up. We need to teach them to be creative. We need to teach them to seek solutions. We need to teach them to endure, even sometimes when it seems very, very difficult or challenging. We need to be there for our kids and help them to not give up. So that's where we'll leave it.